Mama deer does this after man saves her drowning cubs. To be able to save this baby deer's life, you could see it just made people happy, said resident Kim Brandwin, who captured the event on video. A baby deer in Maryland was reunited with its mother after being stuck in a storm drain for hours. Owing Mills, Maryland resident Kim Brandwin told the news station that the incident all started when her neighbors saw a mother deer circling around a sewer. Around 9 p.m., someone, a mom and her son who was riding a bike, saw a mama deer walking around the storm drain, and the mama deer was looking like she was in a bit of distress, and she kept looking in and walking away, said Brandwin, who captured the incident on video. A volunteer dispatcher eventually called and reported the situation, prompting fire rescue teams to respond, and at least 3 firefighter trucks arrived on the scene, she said. In her video taken of the event, firefighters could be seen using metal tools to open up the storm drain on the edge of the street. After successfully removing the top of the drain, a fire rescue member, wearing jeans and a white cap, could be seen descending into it as several other firefighters watched from above. After spending a few minutes in the sewer, bleats from a baby deer could be heard as the man emerged holding the tiny creature in his arms. The firefighter then took the screaming animal over to its mother, who had been watching in a nearby patch of grass. The baby deer starts to cry, and our hearts begin to melt, and not a second later, he just comes out of the drain holding this sweet baby deer that looks like it could be just merely days old, Brandwin told the outlet. The mother deer could be seen running away from the firefighter as he placed the baby deer down on the ground. Eventually, the mother met its baby halfway, and the two ran off toward the brush. Brandwin told WBAL-TV that watching the situation unfold was a moment to behold. It was, at first, heart-wrenching, and I was definitely holding back all of my tears, she said. Then, when I actually realized I was videoing something actually spectacular, it felt heartwarming. Brandwin said she and her neighbors were glad that the situation had a happy outcome. You could see it on the firemen's faces, she added. To be able to save this baby deer's life, everyone was applauding and giving each other high fives afterwards. You could see it just made people happy. Another history. Jurgen Manhart makes the drive between Millbank and Kincardine often, but this time took an unexpected turn. When Manhart hit the road Monday, his trek was suddenly stopped. He saw a pregnant deer and one of its babies dead on the side of the road. I knew something got hit, and I thought it was something big, said Manhart. As I drove by, I looked over and I had seen some movement. Manhart couldn't believe what happened next. As he approached, the mother deer laid there lifeless. Then there was a sign of life. She was pregnant. A little head was poking out of the rest of it in a hole in a sack, and it was trying to get out, and it just couldn't get free, Manhart said. Without thinking, he ripped open the amniotic sac, and the baby deer was still in there. So I pulled it free and checked its legs, and nothing was broken. It seemed to be fine, said Manhart. He loaded the little fawn into his truck and wrapped her tightly with his fleece jacket to keep her warm and to ensure she didn't move. He carried on to Kincardine and called around to see where he could bring the tiny deer, all while dealing with the emotion. At the roadside, I was fighting tears because of the mother and the other baby. That really hit me hard, Manhart said. He got a hold of Hobbitstead Wildlife Refuge, who told him they could pick up the fawn that day at the Guelph Humane Society. So he went back in the car and drove 2 hours the opposite way. Jordan Moorhead is the wildlife care attendant who was on shift at the Humane Society when the fawn was brought in. I was worried, of course, because of the trauma the mom and the other baby had sustained. I was kind of concerned the state of the fawn was going to be in, Moorhead said. But to her surprise, the fawn was faring well, especially with the odds stacked against her. That's the first time I've ever heard something like this happen, said Moorhead. That's saying something considering the Guelph Humane Society cares for more than 1,800 sick, hurt, or orphaned wildlife animals every year. The fawn was later taken to Hobbitstead thanks to collaboration with volunteers from the Humane Society. That's where the fawn will stay until September or October. Then she will be brought back to a safe location and released nearby where she was found. As for Manhart, he's hoping his drives are less adventurous going forward, but he says he'll always have a fond memory of his encounter with the lucky fawn. There are many ways we can help animals living in the wild and save them from the harms that they face in nature. In the long term, the only way they will eventually get the help they need is by us raising awareness of the plight of wild animals and the discrimination they suffer. But there are helpful things that can be done for them in the short term, too. Some people may want wild animals to be helped, yet fear that we lack the knowledge to do it properly, and that we would do more harm than good. Fortunately, though, there are always ways we can help animals using our current knowledge. There are already many examples we can draw upon. Many involve helping certain animals individually. Others involve helping large groups of animals, which can be done in scientifically informed ways in order to ensure that no negative consequences occur. Eventually, research on this problem could be established in academia, which could provide us with much better information on the best ways of helping animals in the wild. Unfortunately, most people are still unaware of the different ways in which animals can be helped and are in fact currently being helped.